So here is something that I've been doing in D&D for quite a while that I think is, if not a good rule for people to follow, at least a good thing to take into consideration. Never run your dragons straight. Now, this is not me saying that your dragon should always be gay, although, honestly, would be hilarious if you have a very horny bard in the party. Mrs. Dragon, I have come to make an offering. Yeah, you can stop with all of that, fuckboy. You're not my type. She is. Honestly, if you want to run just a dragon has stolen the princess, how about the dragon and the princess are just lovers and it's just, I don't know, wholesome, and somehow it turns from, oh yes, you have to save the princess from the dragon that you have to kill, into, congratulations, you now have to converse with the king about getting the approval for the princess marrying the dragon. It would be fucking hilarious and could actually be a fun plot point. But no, that's actually not what I mean when I say never run your dragon straight. When I say never run your dragon straight, I mean never run your dragons as just a thing that's in the monster manual. Don't get me wrong, those stat blocks are great, and I say work off it. But never just run the manual. It's a dragon. It's an intelligent creature with immense power. And a personality. They are intelligent. And that's the one thing the stat block doesn't really represent. The stat block doesn't show that, hey, this is an intelligent creature who has a life. That's something that a lot of other stat blocks actually do capture. The dragon one is just the one that is the worst at it. Or maybe not the worst, but it's down there. Now, of course, there are the standard things for never running a dragon straight, as in give it interesting minions or give it a terrain it can really make good use out of. But what I personally like to do is always give the dragon a couple levels in a player class. In this, hopefully short video, I will be going over every class and just seeing what they would result in. Just kind of brainstorming what type of dragon you end up with if you give them levels in this class. I'll be going at alphabetical order, I'll post little time marks down below, which means that we start with Artificer. Now, the Artificer is someone who creates things. Be it potions, magical items, other things. So what's a dragon artificer like? Well, one, they probably have a larger access to magical items of varying qualities. This can be really cool because it means that your dragon, you have a justification for giving your dragon just the most random minor things. Like, you can give them a one-use smoke bomb. Congratulations. The dragon throws what looks like a small crystal ball on the ground, and suddenly everything is filled with smoke. Which is horrifying because it's a dragon, they have blind sight. They don't need to see, your players probably do. But yeah, Dragon Artificer, they will really have magical items and really make use of them in battle, which is just really cool, and also kind of gives players a side objective. Oh, they have this weapon, or they have this piece of armor that allows them to constantly teleport at the end of each of their rounds. Alright, now maybe a goal could be get that away from them, because it's making them a fucking nightmare to fight. Every turn when the fighter ran up to them, congratulations, the dragon is now on the other side of the lair. That's a problem. And if you're scared of giving your players that, dragons have unique magic, and they have unique a unique power source for being a dragon. So, if the Dragon Artificer used their own internal power source to power their magical items, then congratulations, it worked infinitely for your dragon, but now it works on something like charges for the players, or it only has so many charges that it can use, or, it just had only so many charges in general, and the dragon was just using them liberally. Or, of course, you have a dragon that has a magical sword. 1, fucking awesome. 2, yeah, your players are not going to be able to wield the sword that a dragon was wielding. So yeah, Dragon Artificer. Prepare for magic items that are used against you. Tons of fun. Next up, Dragon Barbarian. Oh boy, what a perfect combination. And this is perfect for kind of a 2-stage battle. The most obvious choice for this would of course be a white dragon, but any type of dragon works. Honestly, red dragons would also work really well. The players are fighting this dragon, and it's a tough fight, like dragons always are, but the players are making good headway. And when they get the dragon down to half health, it flies into a rage. As in, just barbarian rage. I would say give them like 2 levels in barbarian. This does a couple nasty things for them. 1, it gives them danger sense from the start. They make pretty much all dexterity saves with advantage. That's a dick move. But oh boy will it make the dragon more memorable. But especially once they get to half health and the dragon gets angry. And it goes into a rage. Congratulations, all those classes that do bludgeoning, piercing or slashing damage, just all the kind of physical classes, not the spellcasters, suddenly their damage is halved. Now, in my party that's not really a problem, because my party doesn't exactly have a lot of physical damagers, but it still adds flavor. And of course, congratulations, all the dragon's physical attacks now do 2 extra damage. Not a lot, but significant. And with 2 levels, the dragon also gets access to reckless attack, which means, congratulations, every one of the attacks the dragon has now is going with advantage. But of course the party also have advantage against the dragon, which is just a case of, yeah, you can hit the dragon more often. But when you hit, it cares less about it. So yeah, I would say Barbarian, it's such a simple thing, like 2 levels, you barely give them anything, but the dragon is going to be so much more memorable because suddenly you are facing a dragon that's just a fucking nightmare, because when you begin to take them down, they get angry and their tactics will change. Maybe they start off using hit and run tactics, but then they fly into a rage and are just standing in the middle of the party and doing a lot of damage with advantage. Problematic all around. Next up, probably one of the harder varieties. Dragon Bard. You see, this one is slightly difficult because, well, all of these spellcasting ones are difficult. Because either you have to give them so many levels that they can really start doing impressive things with spells, or it really won't have a big effect in the fight at all. Though, I do think that, especially with a bard, you can do 2 things which would definitely be significant towards the party. I mean, other than of course the shift in personality, like the Artificer Dragon would be a massive magic item haul. The Barbarian Dragon would be just way more brutal, would be, well, more barbaric. The Bard Dragon would just be very interested in culture, which could be very interesting. Like, it makes sense to give maybe some of the metallic dragons some levels in Bard, as they, especially the ones that like to turn into a humanoid form and travel amongst humans. Then some levels in Bard can kind of help them in their humanoid life. Or if they are a chromatic dragon, then they might be very interested in culture, which could be interesting because this dragon, normally dragons are a problem of course. They require you to pay them enough gold or treasure, so they say, yeah, you're more useful to me alive than me just burning all of you and eating you. a bard dragon might be way more interested in, hey, so go give a concert to me, and if I like it, I won't eat you. That would definitely get the attention of the party when they just hear that, yeah, so our local entertainer has left to satisfy the dragon, so he hopefully gets to live another year. Either it's really good world setting, or it's a plot hook for the party. Either way, you win. But for how it affects the stat block, if you just give the dragon a couple levels in Bard, the spells they will be able to cast aren't that significant. But what they are able to do is, well, if you just want to freak out the party, give the dragon Healing Word. The dragon starts to just kind of sing or hum mid-battle as you see the wounds close. Even if the healing is fucking minimal, look how much your party will freak the fuck out when suddenly the dragon starts healing itself. That is generally seen as a problem. Or, bardic spells very often work through music. If you are very large, you can make music for a very long range. You could say that kind of combining bardic magic with dragon magic and just immense size and potentially, like the caves they use, work as massive kind of speakers almost, they can project their magic for a long distance, which could mean some very big things, or it could just be the dragon is able to kind of do some mindfuckery with the party as they are approaching. Just don't do anything big with it, just do a charm person, and immediately look at how the party is going to freak the fuck out. Honestly, bards, I think, make for a great freak factor without changing the CR significantly. Next up, cleric. Ooh boy, this one is... well, one, it's difficult to say a lot about. For one, you get a dragon that kind of pays a reverence to a god, which is not a particular dragony thing to do. Dragons are not particularly known to care too much about gods. And of course there is the part that a cleric, just being a cleric doesn't exactly tell you a lot. Like, are you a cleric of the god of death on a mission to end all life in existence? Or are you a dragon of life and instead want to heal everyone and keep everyone in their best life and just... there are so many different directions you can go with cleric. I would treat cleric dragons kind of the same as paladin dragons. They are really devoted to an idea, and with cleric, that idea brings them almost not so much reverence for a god, but more our goals align, and so we will work together. The god might not view it that way, or they might, but the dragon might see it that way, because dragons are not so much the type to be submissive to others. They might more be a case of, yeah, you're a god and you're pretty damn powerful, and we want the same thing, so let's work together. Now the problem here, of course, is I don't really know how you could do a lot with how it would really impact the powers of the dragon. It will heavily lean on the domain they go for, and otherwise, I mean, they get some neat spells that could definitely be devastating. Like a dragon that conjures a spiritual weapon, that's already seen as probably a big problem. If the dragon can also cast Shield of Faith and increase its AC by 2, that will definitely be something that the party just goes, ooh, yes, problem. Or if the dragon just uses all their spell slots to cast Sanctuary, which means that people have to make a wisdom save if they even want to hit the dragon. It won't last that long, of course, but as long as it lasts, boy is it going to be a problem for the party, because the dragon can attack, just use all of its attacks, and then as a bonus action, cast Sanctuary on itself, and now people can't hit it back. Overly powerful? I don't think so, but definitely a case of, ooh, problem. And honestly, That's a great reaction to get. Ooh, problem means that you got the players engaged. It's not just, we knew what the fuck we were up against. We were not. We were not. Druid's Dragon. Now this will of course be a dragon that's more in touch with nature. The most obvious one would of course be a green dragon, though I think a black dragon could also make a great druid dragon. Now, while this largely has the same problems as the cleric dragon, this one is, well, it makes more sense kind of on a lore perspective. Dragons are elemental beings, and kind of the druid is the class that's most related to things like the elemental planes, because those are the forces of nature, and dragons are kind of quasi-elemental beings. It might also result in a more mellow dragon, or actually a dragon that is way less mellow, as it's a case of, oh, you build a village into my forest. How about every time anyone leaves the village, I take them, and they don't return? Now, mechanically, this one is probably very, I guess, stable. They get wild shape, of course, but it's not really anything too bad for the party. Because, sure, they can wild shape, but it's not like the wild shape is going to be able to really do anything, at least not physically. No matter what you wild shape into, being a dragon is going to be more impressive than being able to turn into a direwolf. But this does of course mean that the dragon can be easily spying on the party. Just following the party as a small white bunny. The dragon could be testing them to see if they are respectful of the forest, and if they're not, congratulations, you now are facing a dragon. Or just a case of, we invaded the dragon's lair. There is nobody here. Wait, why did the bat on the ceiling just turn into a dragon? Fuck everyone, run, we are ambushed. Great way to get a surprise round on the party, which is a problem with a dragon because it's a dragon. Spell-wise, I think it's pretty okay. Maybe only use your first turn on a druid spell, but druid spells can be pretty neat, as they tend to be very controlling spells. If you gave the dragon like 3 levels in druids, they can cast Spike or Growth, which is going to be an absolute bastard for the party to try and get rid of. It really locks down the party, or if they are like 5th level, they can cast Plant Growth, and congratulations, everywhere is now very hard terrain. So, the party can't move, but the dragon can fly. Just allow the dragon to cast a controlling spell to lock shit down. And then be a dragon who is not locked down. Good thing to keep in mind with this, you don't need to give them a subclass, you can just make them a level 5 druid and they are just a druid. They are not like a dreams druid or a land druid. No, they're just a druid. No subclass or anything like that. Next up, probably the, well, on quick examination the hardest. Dragon Fighter. Now, this sounds really hard to make good use out of, right? I mean, it's a dragon, it's not going to be swinging a sword around while carrying a shield and plate armor. But then again, that could actually be how you represent them, for instance having the fighting style defense. Instead of a regular dragon that just relies on its great scales, this dragon is wearing pieces of armor, just covering the joints, giving it just a +1 to its AC, but a +1 to its AC can be an absolute nightmare. Your hits will now hit 5% less. And of course your dragon now has access to features like Second Wind as a bonus action. It's not a lot, but like I said before, the reaction of your players when your dragon heals is going to be a moment of, oh fuck. And of course, you give your dragon access to Action Surge. When your dragon has access to Action Surge, your party will have a moment of, that's not allowed, stop it. instead of your dragon attacking once with its bite attack and twice with its claws, or doing a breath weapon, now you have a dragon that does a breath weapon and bites and claws, or bites twice and claws 4 times, and all of that is a problem. This is one I would really watch out with, because that's a party wiper. But if you either have very high hopes for your party, or you kind of have an underleveled dragon for the party, give it 2 levels in fighter and suddenly that dragon is a challenge again, because they can drop a couple players in the first round. Easily. And of course you probably end up with a more trained, probably more combat trained dragon, or perhaps more of a knightly dragon. Either way, it's gotta be a problem. And like I keep saying, I really like saying that it's gotta be a problem, because when it's a problem, you're having fun. Or at least, the party will probably be engaged. Next up, Monk Dragon. Now the first level features are all useless. Unarmored defense and martial arts, yeah, none of those apply to a dragon. But after that, your dragon becomes... well, basically you turn a health tank into a dodge tank. Suddenly, your dragon can do things like take the dodge action as a bonus action using a key point, or dashing and disengaging as a bonus action using a key point. And of course they also start getting unarmored movement, which is also a case of holy shit, this dragon, which normally already has a walking speed of 40 feet and a flying speed of 80 feet, now has a walking speed of 50 feet and a flying speed of 90 feet. And both of those are a problem. And with higher levels, all of those only become bigger problems. And of course with 3rd level, congratulations. You have a dragon that can deflect missiles. So, yeah, that's going to get a reaction of, what do you mean the dragon swatted my arrow out of the sky with its tail? Oh, fuck. And of course with this you end up with a dragon that's probably a dragon more at peace, or a dragon that just kind of, I don't know, you could almost have a dragon with a vow of silence, meaning that it never roars. A dragon that doesn't make a single sound as it fights. Lots of fun things you could do with that. Next up, Dragon Paladin. A dragon that's really devoted to an idea. Now, much like the Dragon Monk, a Dragon Paladin doesn't really get anything at the first level, but after that, they get some neat things. Like Fighter, they might be wearing some armor to get their AC up just a little as a kind of showcase of its defense fighting style. But of course, most interestingly, now you give a dragon smites. It's all fun and games until the fiery bite attack also does radiant damage and smites the unworthy. And of course, if you give them a lot of paladin levels, like 6 of them, you now have a dragon with an aura of protection. Useful for allies, of course, but more importantly, useful for itself. Congratulations, your dragon is now even fucking harder to hit, which is, well, kind of not okay, and also, oh boy, will your party fucking hate you, and really remember that fight. A dragon that's really devoted to an idea, well, like anyone devoted to an idea, that can be very bad. Especially if it's a paladin of vengeance, and it wreaks vengeance on anyone who dares take anything from its hoard. That's very fitting, and also a big problem. Dragon Ranger. Now this one is, of course, everybody likes the meme on the Ranger, but what happens when you have a dragon who can track? A dragon who really knows a lot about certain types of foe. This could be something that hunts them. For instance, it could be a white dragon that has the favorite enemy of giants, as frost giants are quite well known to attack white dragons. This could be a lot like the druidic dragon that's just close to the land, but this one is maybe less close to the land and more kind of close to the perhaps wildlife, or just this is a dragon that's really good at hunting. Which is a problem if the dragon decides to hunt the party. Because this could be a dragon that can cast Hunter's Mark, which, one, makes it so that the dragon can track the party, and also, against that one person, every one of its attacks does an extra d6 damage. That is a lot of damage. Dragon Rogue. This could be great for a young or wormling dragon, making them able to just sneak in and out of places, which is going to be a case of, what do you mean the royal treasury was taken? By whom? Which could be a great hook for the party, as they find signs that a dragon did this. But how on earth did the dragon sneak by everyone? Well, congratulations, you're dealing with a sneaky as fuck dragon. Which would be great for kind of low level party, lower CR dragon. But this would still work with a higher CR dragon, just a bigger dragon, because, well, they still get a lot of very neat things. They still get things like uncanny dodge, where they can use their reaction to basically halve the attack of someone. Not nice. They are very good at some skills, of course, and they can have evasion if you go high. Cunning action would of course be a nightmare, especially if you give it to something like a white dragon, who can just as a bonus action dive into the snow and, oh congratulations, the dragon is gone. Fuck. Or, your dragon has sneak attack. Now I would of course drop the stipulation that it needs to be a finesse weapon. It's a balancing part of the rogue and also kind of something to force them into a role, so if your player asks for it, it's also something that I say you can drop. Just, yeah, let the rogue use a long sword with its sneak attack. But for NPCs you just completely drop that stipulation. Now you have a dragon that works really well with allies, because if somebody is also fighting an ally, congratulations, the dragon can now do more damage on you. Just give it one level in rogue, and once per turn, the dragon can do an extra 1d6 damage to one person who is also fighting an ally. That's enough, as suddenly already this is more memorable. Suddenly it's a case of, oh, we have to watch out that we're not getting kind of surrounded by its allies. We either need to take care of it very quickly, stay away from its allies, or kill its allies. All of which is great. All of which gives a flavor to the battle. Sorcerer Dragon. The most fitting one, as dragons are natural sorcerers, and also probably one of the most terrible options. Unless you're really going hard into dragon magic and they can do unique things, you can use this as a justification for your dragon being able to do weird things with its breath attack, perhaps. But other than that, there is not a lot you can do unless you give the dragon so many levels in Sorcerer that basically when they're fighting the dragon, they're not fighting the dragon, they're fighting a sorcerer who just happened to be a dragon. The best I would say you can do is kind of give it reaction spells, which would definitely make it a bit of a nightmare. If you give it shield, congratulations, when the fighter attacks, the dragon can cast a shield. Like, even if it can only do that twice, that will be a moment of, oh, fuck. Or if you give it more levels and give it counterspell, suddenly it can try to counterspell the wizard. That is a problem. It might not actually work, but it's going to be a case of, oh shit. And that oh shit reaction is a good one. The Warlock Dragon. Now, this is also not a great one. Like all spellcasters, it doesn't really build on what the dragon already has in its amazing physical stats, and instead tries to replace it with kind of spellcasting, though the warlock might work a bit better with it. Character-wise, a warlock dragon is a dragon that has kind of sworn fealty to a different power. Not something dragons are very known to do, so this could be something you do to a younger dragon as it tries to get a leg up against its more powerful dragons via outside help. It only gets 2 spell slots, but it's a dragon, so it probably won't rely on those spell slots to really do a lot with. But give it a couple interesting invocations and you can have a lot going for you. Hell, if you just have a dragon that can turn invisible as an action, that will already be a moment of, where did the dragon go? Oh fuck. Even if the dragon can't actually move or do anything without becoming visible again, the party doesn't know that. As long as the party doesn't know, they might do some weird things and it'll definitely catch them off guard. And, well, as I keep saying, catching someone off guard, a lot of fun. And of course, if you just want to be relatively basic but evil, just take the Eldritch Smite invocation and let the dragon smite on a bite attack. Wizard Dragon. Now, this of course struggles in the same way that every caster dragon suffers, but wizards are a bit more prone to set up some defenses, kind of set spells in advance. Your dragon has a massive hold, so maybe it used some diamonds to cast Glyphs of Warding. Just having alarm up around the lair of the dragon that alerts the dragon when anyone gets near is a great way if you're dealing with a very stealthy party and you want a very good reason why they can't just sneak up to it and stab it to death immediately, and instead this dragon gets the drop on them this time around. Instead of the party sneaking up on the dragon has set alarm and casted invisibility on itself. So when they go and look for the dragon, instead the dragon can be invisible behind them. It might not actually succeed on its stealth, so it might not always get a surprise round off, but it will definitely be memorable. And of course a wizard dragon is going to be interested in a particular type of loot and also attract particular types of adventurers, particularly those that need arcane help. This could make for a great NPC, because, oh no, a big thing is coming up, and we need a powerful spell to, I don't know, close the demon gate, or whatever the fuck is going on. And they just learn of this wizard dragon living high up in the mountains, and just getting there could be an adventure to get this dragon that can help them. Battle-wise, I would say largely the same with sorcerer. Let it have some spells prepared, have magical traps set in advance, and other than that, use spells like shield, absorb element, counterspell to just give it some interesting reactions that will definitely make the party go, oh fuck. So yeah, those are but a couple ideas on how you can run a dragon with a couple player levels. You don't need to give them that many to just make the dragon memorable, because suddenly your dragon can do things that the players were not expecting the dragon to be able to do. I would say really go with the flavor. A dragon fighter has, pieces of armor kind of on its wings, kind of on its joints that you can just see. The cleric dragon, you can see them quickly mumbling a prayer as they run into battle. Really show a change of personality in the barbarian dragon when they go into a rage. And just in general, never run a dragon straight. Always give them something that sets them apart. Like, it can be a lot of different things. It can just be, oh, this dragon is, very old, or this is a blind dragon, so as long as you stay out of its blind side, it can't actually see you. This would lower its difficulty a bit, but it will also make it really memorable. Like, a blind dragon, holy shit, that's a unique thing, that's a unique fight. But of course, because they have that incredible blind sense, they are still going to be very dangerous, because as long as anyone is within, I believe, 60 feet of them, yeah, the dragon will still know where everyone is. Or just go with the very literal don't run a dragon straight and just steal my idea of the princess was stolen by a dragon. Wait, no, actually, the princess was taken to its future wife's lair, as they are secretly betrothed, and, well, try to find your way through that societal clusterfuck. Tons of fun, they're fucking dragons. Make a dragon memorable. Never run a dragon straight. Always give them something unique. This has been Phoenix, saying farewell.